Hi crafters, I'm Robbie Susan Chandler from RobbieSusanCardsandCrafts.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Quincy, Florida, right outside Tallahassee, Florida. I'm here to share a project with you, so let's get started. I am so excited to share with you today a new fold that I had not done before, and I used in my classes, my Mother's Day card classes last week, called a floating panel card. And this is the way it looks when it's spread out, but when you fold it up, it folds up like this. Now, the one I'm going to make today will look a little bit different. I'll explain to you why when we finish. And then it stands like this, and your sentiment is in here. But here's the part that's the floating panel that more or less floats when you stand it up. So let's get started on this card and see how in the world do you make this card. So I'm going to start with, I'll lay this here for reference, these outside sections, and these are 4 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch pieces, and they are embossed with the painted texture embossing folder. So these are your outside pieces. Your next piece, these right here, are from the Fancy Floral paper pack, and you'll need 2 of those. They're 5 1/4 inches by 1 1/2. They will go right there. Your centerpiece right here is also from Fancy Floral, and it's a 3 by 3 inch square, but then I cut it with the Stylish Shapes dies to get that little stitch design around it, and it's your piece that goes right here. And the piece that it goes on is 3 by 6 inches, scored at 3 1/2. It's not 3 1/2, scored at 3 inches, so you fold it in half, and it's your piece that goes on here. And inside of this, your piece in there, this is 2 7/8 inches by 2 7/8 inches, and it goes in this part, and you can stamp whatever sentiment you want. I'm making this one a birthday card. And your outside pieces, these right here, are also Fancy Floral, and they're 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. You'll need 2 of those, and I cut that with this beautiful Elegant Borders die, which is an online exclusive. You have to go online to find this die. It's not in a catalog, and there's 4 beautiful dies in this set. That's your outside piece. And the ink we're using today is Flirty Flamingo. Now let's look at the base. Your base piece is also, this is Blushing Bride, which unfortunately we have retired now, but any pretty pink color you want to use will work here. And it's 5 1/2 by 11 inches. Now you're going to score it at 2 1/8, 3 7/8, 4 1/2, and then flip it over and score it again at 2 1/8, 3 7/8, and 4 1/2. Now you notice there's some pencil marks here, and let me explain those to you. You're going to have to cut out these sections right here. And to do that, take your ruler and measure down 1 1/2 inches on each side on the second score line. You're going to the second score line in on both sides, the second score line. So you measure 1 1/2 down, 1 1/2 down, go across, 1 1/2 up, 1 1/2 up, across, and you're going to cut this section out like this. This is this one I've cut out to show you. So here we measure down 1 1/2, 1 1/2, up 1 1/2, 1 1/2, and cut that out. Now I want to show you the folding of this card because it can get a little tricky. So you start with your outside ones, and they actually fold in. So we're going to score that down, and let's fold this one in. Burnish. Now the next one is going to fold in also like this. Burnish it, fold it in, burnish it. Now this next one is the tricky one. You're going to fold it back. It folds back on the other side. Fold it back, and that's what forms this little platform. See the little platform right there? That's where you're going to put your this piece on that platform. Now I want to show you too, this one, when you fold it up, you notice this one meets. The first instructions I had for this card said to cut the 11-inch down to 10.5. Well, when I did that, I noticed, well, look here, there's a 1/2 inch gap right there, and I really didn't like that. So I thought, well, let's don't cut that 1/2 inch off and let them meet. And I liked it much better this way. Okay, let's look at some more pieces. I have already adhered the paper to this one, and there's pieces on the front. You see when it closes up, meets perfectly and looks like this. And here is our centerpiece. I put my cinnamon inside, and I've already put my bow here. And this is going to glue right in the middle of this. And one thing you have to be careful about is don't get your glue on these two sections here. The glue has to stay just right in this section. And then just press this down in the center right in the middle. Make sure it's straight. And if you want to check it out from the other side, you can tell over here if it's straight or not. Okay, so there's that panel. Now, we have some flowers on this. Of course we gotta have flowers. You always have to have flowers. I love my flowers. Oh, by the way, the bow is from this beautiful pool party ribbon, and it's current in the catalog, and it's called Gross Grain ribbon. And it's really pretty, really nice ribbon. All right, the flowers and leaves that you saw on the front of the card, these were stamped in Versamark, heated with white embossing powder, and they're from the Irresistible Blooms. I use this flower right here and these two leaves. And then they have coordinating dies that you cut them out with. All right, let's put those on our card. So I'm going to put the flower down first. I always like to put my flower first because then I can arrange my leaves underneath it, and I feel like that way I can have more control over where the leaves go. You notice I also have used these flat adhesive back pearls for the center of my flower, and also added a few right there. And I also added a little brushed brass butterfly right there. This is flowers. Flowers have butterflies floating around. And then I have, let's add this leaf, and it's kind of a big one, so I'm going to stick it over here in this part. And then there's a double leaf. That's a triple. Here's the double. And let's add this one. How about right there? Okay. Now the folding up part now is a little bit tricky. You got to make sure that those two little wings right there fold under. And then this folds in on top. And there's your completed card. Now, in your opinion, which do you like better? The one that meets, or the one that didn't meet, that has a gap? Personally, I like this one better, but we all have our different opinions, so it's your choice. Okay, so this completes this card. I hope you'll try this floating panel card. It's really not that hard. I found it fun, easy to do. My customers enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you're like me and you like written instructions, I have a link below that you can click on and you can download and get a written tutorial for this card. So until next time, happy crafting.